rock and roll group called Bruce Springsteen came and visited my little hamlet in Sweden. And I fell in love with one of the members, and they took me back here to New York, or here to New York, back to New York. And I have stayed there in New York for 27 years. And my story was really in the rock and roll business. When I came, I stayed, I got thrown into wealth, I got thrown into the whole rock and roll business. I became a singer, I was already a dancer, and I started touring around the world for 10 years. This is in the 80s. The drugs and the alcohol was everywhere, and it was free. And if you didn't do it, something was wrong with you. So being 17 then, I guess, I got into it, and I hated it in the beginning, but you have to kind of do it. And like all of us, if you do it long enough, you can get hooked, and I did. When I get back to New York 10 years later, I've been touring for 10 years, I decided to stop touring because then maybe I can get, all fixed up. And I opened up a huge gallery in Soho. And that kind of didn't work so good because I had tons of money, I was very well known, and I just had drug dealers come to my gallery and deliver it. It was actually easier than the actual touring days. And I did that for quite a bit of time. And I kind of got caught, the family members are like waking up to it and saying, hey, what's going on? And rehab was a no-no, absolutely not. I'm not one of them. AA, are you kidding me? It was not me, myself, and I, like who I am. And my little sister, she was really, really smart. She said to me, couldn't you just see this as like a spa for your soul? And I was like, yeah, I can do that. Spa for my soul, it's kind of cool, And she has 3 kids. So she was like, if I could go away for 1 month and not be around my kids or get in and just think about me, like I do it in a heartbeat. I was like, yeah, I guess I could. And I got to a rehab, and I'm not going to mention it, that had tons of famous people in it. And I was like rocking and rolling it there, and I was dealing and doing my thing, and it didn't work for me so well. I got back to New York again. I was like, if I can clean up for 28 days, I'll do this again. And this was kind of cool, so I went straight back, and it became even worse. About 12 years later, I got caught again. And this time, I got shipped off to Karen. And Karen changed my life. And even there, it was that whole, like, you don't understand, like, I am super famous, and I really wasn't. I really not. But I thought I was. And I had a little bit of that, what Michael was talking about. I was really famous overseas, but in America or in New York, like, I could walk the street, nobody knew about me. And so I had that, like, I was craving attention. I was one of those people that were up dancing on the tables and just, I really needed it. And then when I got out of rehab, the Swedish TV channel contacted me, and they were doing this New York housewife thing. I know. So they were doing this Swedish New York housewife, and I was like, I'm not going to do that kind of crap. It's like, whatever. But then I thought, if I could tell my story, really, truly, just tell my story, what I've been through with the drugs and alcohols and all this, I'll do it. And this Swedish TV first was like, well, that's not very glamorous, like all the drugs and stuff. Could we just talk about it? And I was like, no, then I'm not going to do it. So they did it, and they did it really, really well. They did the whole episode kind of in slow motion, and that's kind of what I felt when I was on drugs. It was always like, So they did it, it was really well. But what happened after that, I got thousands and thousands of emails, not just from Swedish people, but international, asking me for help. And I was like, whoa. You don't have rehabs in Europe? Like, don't you have AA meetings? And of course they do, but not as good as we do here. America is fantastic when it comes to this. I mean, we really, really truly are. And we're getting better and better and better and better. When I heard about Ocean Drive, I was like, hello, excuse me, I want to be in it, I want to do something. Now, I've studied international life coaching because I believe in myself, believe in working with the now and working with the future, and knowing myself and being in the world of fame and money, and I think you're so incredible. My problem was when I got to rehab and I got back home again, I felt so lonely. Like I knew I had people in rehab. I could call them and I could say things, but I still didn't want to go to AA. I wanted to be anonymous. Almost for myself I wanted to be it, except when I got that need of that continuing aftercare, or the care for after you're done with the rehab, and how different that could be for people with wealth, fame, because they might not come back and like, throw themselves into AA and sponsorship and all that stuff. And many of the clients I have now in New York City, that is the problem. They're refusing it. They were just like me, refusing to go to rehab. And then, of course, I have a great language for it now. Going to spa is actually fantastic. And then the rehab can do that. But no, seriously, it's so what I'm doing for Ocean Drive is the whole continuing care and after and international outreach, because that it came to me. So now for me to get over there and start pumping the grounds and talking to all the famous people and wealth and stuff, it's easy, it's there. I need it, they're desperate for it. So that's who I am. Thank you very much. And we can stretch together.